Ladies and gentlemen, I am very much pleased to explain in details main features, salient features of corporate socialism, Christian or better known as corporatism, which is the basic economic theory of Social Action Party, a registered political party with the Election Commission of India since 1st January 1992. What is corporatism or corporate socialism? The main thrust of programs under corporatism is to bring all economic activities under one roof, that is corporate sector. Means of production and distribution will be brought under the control of corporate sector, that is the joint stock companies. In a society where corporate socialism takes root, we can visualize the following types of ownership or proprietary concerns. First, state-owned property. Public enterprises and properties owned by local bodies, state, central governments come under this category. Second, property owned and managed by charitable societies and religious bodies. Thirdly, property owned by joint stock companies. Fourth, personal property, property owned by individuals. Ownership of property shall wholly vest with the above mentioned bodies in the new system envisaged by corporate socialism. In the economic system where corporate socialism has found full expression, individual ownership of properties shall be restricted to a larger extent, for the number of proprietary concerns shall be nominal and few in the new setup envisaged by this system. For proprietary concerns shall give way to the mushroom growth of joint stock companies. The mode of ownership is likely to undergo great changes. Proprietary consent shall be reduced considerably, if not wholly abolished under this system. For proprietary consents will be put in the most unfavorable conditions to thrive under the changed atmosphere, where corporate form of ownership takes hold of the entire fabric of economic structure. It forces an economic order where the means of production and distribution are brought wholly under the control of corporate sector, that is joint stock companies, so that all business, commercial, agricultural, industrial activities shall be controlled and managed by joint stock companies. This will leave no segment of economic activity outside the purview of corporate sector. Hence, there will be few proprietary or individual enterprises in the changed system, leaving a fair chunk of economic activity to corporate sector. Individual or proprietary consent shall be confined to petty shops and workshops. No activity under the sun will be beyond the touch of corporate sector. A system where mode of ownership is wholly vested with corporate sector, it will give ample opportunity to every Nick and Harry to become part of the development process, as they naturally become shareholders and direct beneficiaries of these enterprises run by corporate sector. When the corporate means of production and distribution becomes a reality, there will certainly be a reduction of the concentration of wealth in the hands of the few, giving a boost to the distribution of wealth among the population as a whole, for it results in the transformation of ownership from few hands to the common ownership of property as envisaged in this system. Corporatism enables all and sundry to get its due share of the fruits of progress and development as shared in, for it naturally puts an end to the monopoly ownership prevalent in all walks of life. Business empires controlled by the few rich will collapse easily under the weight of joint stock companies, which will certainly give a striking blow to the so-called business tycoons or conglomerate, which control the most of the business industrial undertaking in India. For corporatism will take hold of entire fabric of economic activity. scheme of development under a corporate system. Under this system, it is proposed to take every development block or an assembly constituency as a basic unit of development in India. At present, there are more than 5,000 blocks or more than 4,000 assembly constituencies. In every constituency, there are more than 25,000 households. In this scheme of development, almost all households in one area are given an opportunity to take part in the nation building process by their share participations in the series of joint stock companies to be launched under this scheme. To start with, we propose to initiate the formation of one investment company in each block or constituency. We will have more than 4,000 investment companies at one stroke in India. The capital of each such company shall be rupees 2 crore, out of which 1 crore rupees shall be the state government share participation. 1 crore rupees shall be the contribution every such households in every local area by way of share participation to the tune of rupees 500 from each family. This can be collected lump sum or installment basis from poor families. A family which can afford to take more than shares worth rupees 500 can subscribe to any number of shares. However, a share capital of 1 crore can be easily collected from a constituency. The people of the locality is made aware of the full potential of this scheme, intended to uplift all people in the same locality, and they are going to be the true beneficiaries of the fruits of such a scheme. There need not be any apprehension about the possibility of collecting a huge amount from one locality. This scheme can be tailor-made to the suit of the resources of poor households, who can be compelled to remit their share amount in a monthly installment so that they can contribute the whole amount of rupees 500 easily. The share participation of state government to the tune of rupees 1 crore, the total paid up capital of one investment company comes to rupees 2 crores. It is proposed to increase the working capital of these companies to rupees 10 crore by borrowing rupees 8 crore from the local nationalized banks. With this modest capital base of rupees 10 crore, every investment company shall strive to initiate the formation of 100 subsidiary companies with diverse objectives. These companies shall be formed in accordance with the need of every locality, taking into account of natural resources and other amenities. The task of identifying viable projects in each locality shall be entrusted with the district industrial center. Centers who will prepare project reports, give other technical details required for the completion of every new venture. Based upon the report of the district industrial center, viable projects can be taken up by these separate companies formed for the purpose. However, it is the onerous duty of the investment company to float subsidiary companies according to the requirements of each locality. When 100 such companies with different main objectives shall come into being, shall begin to function, entire business, commercial, industrial and every agricultural activity will come under the control of these companies, which in turn can take almost all the existing enterprises also, so as to bring means of production and distribution in the corporate sector entirely. Every newly formed subsidiary company with a capital of rupees 10 lakh, each with entirely different objectives, will be able to change the face of every constituency. At least 100 such companies can be set up in every constituency or block area to carry on business, commerce, agricultural, industry, wherever it is necessary and viable as required to the needs of the people of each locality. It is a duty of every investing company to start new enterprises in areas coming under its jurisdiction. For example, in order to cater to the needs of local people, a company shall be floated to start and carry on the business of hairdressing and beauty parlor. In every panchayat area, it can establish its branches taking into account of the requirements of each locality. While launching such hairdressing salons, attention should be given to amalgamate the existing hairdressing concerns in exchange for company shares. The needs and requirements of people in every locality can be met by setting up a number of hairdressing salons in such area. Such a hairdressing company will become the monopoly owner of all hairdressing salons spread over the area coming under the constituency or block. all hairdressing salons, shops in that area shall be brought under the same management so that there will be no competition among such shops, as is the case today everywhere. Under the present conditions, one such enterprise is a flourishing concern, another one will be a losing one. Just like the hairdressing company, another company to carry on the business of hotel and catering should be formed to take over all hotels and restaurants coming under the same locality. The main objective of such company shall be the management of hotels and restaurants. It shall start hotels and restaurants in every locality in that area. Such a hotel company shall completely own and manage all hotel business in that area. In every locality, a number of hotels and catering shops can be set up under this scheme. For carrying on the business of stationery items, a company for establishing a chain of departmental stores can be started. A marketing company for the distribution of food grains and provisions can be launched. A cloth marketing company shall take charge of distribution of cloth and dress materials. A dressmaking and tailoring company will take charge of tailoring and dressmaking. Its branches will cater to the needs of people in every locality. Likewise, separate companies shall be floated to set up and carry on different types of business and industry. Manufacturing of matches shall be entrusted with one company. Soap making and detergent can be made by a company. A separate company for motor repairing workshop can be set up. A separate company for plying taxi cars and tourist buses should be formed. A company for lorry transport and parcel services can be formed. Thus, all activities under the sun shall be brought under the management of such companies, which will take care of such enterprises. In these enterprises, the workers shall be shareholders too. When the existing concerns are bought by the new company or are amalgamated, compensation for the owners in the former enterprises shall be paid as shares in the new company. Workers shall also be shareholders. Agriculture shall also be brought under the control of agricultural companies. For example, for planting rubber and coconuts, a separate company shall be floated so that it shall be the task of such companies to plant rubber and manage such rubber estates in that locality. Thus, a host of companies floated as subsidiary companies under one investment company shall control all means of production and distribution in one locality. When these 100 companies take full swing, it will take hold of entire economic activities in that area. No individual property concern can survive on its own accord in such a scenario. Naturally, one will be forced to abandon his tiny business. He may forced to transfer his concern to the new company or relinquish his rights to a right-minded company, mainly because of its inability to compete with the new enterprises. Thus, entire economic activities shall be put on the shoulders of these companies, eliminating individual owners from the field of business or industry. When means of production and distribution is completely taken over by these companies, every locality will throw with business, industrial, commercial activities. The enterprises owned by these companies will provide employment to all unemployed present in that particular locality. For one such company can provide job for at least 100 persons. Thus, 10,000 unemployed will find a haven in these companies. They no longer have to travel to big cities like Bombay or Chennai in search of jobs, as these enterprises develop and flourish, can totally absorb all unemployed in that area within a period of 10 years. When this scheme of development is implemented in or extended to all constituencies in India, we will have 4 lakhs of joint stock companies with a working capital of rupees 40,000 crores. It can provide employment to more than 4 crore unemployed who are on the live register of employment exchanges today. Thus, this scheme of development will, in a short span of time, relieve us of unemployment problem, which will in turn improve the pathetic living conditions of millions of poor people in India, as well as change the face of rural India. Apart from these constitutional level companies, every state shall strive to float one district level investment company, each with a capital of rupees 100 crore, contributed by every state, with the sole purpose of setting up big industries in each and every district. Thus, we will have no more than 600 district level companies, which can steer clear of starting and managing big industrial concerns. For example, a tire manufacturing factory, which requires a huge financial outlay, can be established under such a district level company. These companies shall be fully state owned. When these companies come into existence, we will have 600 district level companies with a capital base of 45,000 crore, which will be sufficient enough to start and carry on big industries, taking into consideration of needs of every district. Emergence of these two types of companies in India will usher in an era of development and progress. If the state government take initiative in this direction so as to accelerate the economic growth, and if we will invest rupees 45 crore altogether in diverse enterprises, which will certainly give a rich dividend within a short period of transition of our economic system into the corporate mode of ownership. As the purchasing power of people everywhere increases considerably, there will be great demand for goods and services, which can be met with the increased output of every newly formed companies and enterprises. These companies will find easy market for the goods produced by them. For the economic status of about 20,000 persons are going to be changed immensely as a result of the emergence of such companies in each block area. Every nook and corner of India will be changed into a place of paradise as a result of the sweeping changes effected in the means of production and distribution through corporate mode of ownership throughout India. As the success of this scheme depends on the keen interest shown by every state government, such a scheme is bound to fail if the state government is lukewarm in its attitude to implement the scheme in toto. In case state government is not enthusiastic enough to tread on this path of development programs, we can think of another alternative way in which the corporate form of ownership can be popularized so that unemployment, poverty can be made a thing of the past in India within a decade. If unemployed youths come forward to shoulder the responsibility of implementing the corporate mode of ownership on a wider scale or in all walks of life. For instance, 100 joint stock companies, that is 100 private limited companies, should be formed with the share participation of unemployed youths in one constituency. Each such company shall have 50 shareholders who are unemployed and who shall be prepared to take shares worth at least 5,000 or 10,000. A company with a paid up capital of rupees 2.5 or 5 lakh can be thus floated by 50 such persons. This company should be formed with a specific objective. Their duty is to establish its branches in all panchayats in that constituency. This company can borrow money from nationalized banks to increase its working capital to carry out its main objective in different places. All 50 persons can be gainfully employed in the enterprises started by this company. Hundreds of such companies formed with different objectives can establish various enterprises in that locality within a short span of time. Almost all business industries brought under the control of these 100 private limited companies can easily change the face of every constituency as the entire economic activity is brought under the control of such companies. It will be easy for all unemployed people to find jobs in any one of these concerns. Thus, by the initiative of the unemployed themselves, an industrial revolution can be brought about in India within a short span of time. If necessary motivation is given to the youths of the country by instigating them to launch such 100 private limited companies in one constituency or block area, they are made fully aware of the potential of corporate form of ownership. Certainly, they will take the initiative to incorporate such companies. By setting up such companies, we can kill two birds at one stone. That is, capital formation becomes very easy under this scheme. Secondly, unemployment can be reduced considerably. These twin evils of Indian economy are solved. India can be put on the map of developed nations within an egalitarian blend of economy seen taking root in our ancient land where millions struggle hard to keep body and soul together. The scheme of development helps the nationalized banks to utilize its funds by catering to the needs of people where it is situated, instead of subverting its funds to enterprises under the management of business tycoons or capitalists. This helps to put an end to the misappropriation of public funds in the hands of a couple of people. Moreover, it gives them a chance to distribute or disperse the bank deposit in a justifiable way, catering to the needs of each locality so that there can be a balanced economic growth. It shall prevent the unwanted growth of metropolitan cities, solving many a problem faced by such cities, for village people no longer need to migrate to these cities in search of jobs, as they will find it easy to get sufficient jobs in their native places under the new scheme of development. Many a burden of the urban population will be eased out when migration of people in large scale is put to halt, when industries and business thrive in every locality in India. This scheme will certainly give way to the establishment of an egalitarian society based on the mutual cooperation, understanding and self-help of all people belonging to all segments of our population. It will surely help us to put an end to the exploitation of man by man. I hope you will appreciate my earnest endeavor in this regard to put forward a new line of thought in the realm of economic development, which will certainly, if implemented, helps to reach our goal of self-reliance in all fields, as well as provide better morrow to all who are reeling under the plight of poverty and degradation. I am glad to request you to make an in-depth study about the feasibility of corporate mode of ownership in all walks of life, so as to accelerate economic growth and to put India on the pedals of developed countries. I hope you will appreciate my earnest attempt to find a solution to our acute economic problems through the application of corporate mode of ownership. I hope to evaluate the important role to be played by corporate form of ownership, so as to lead a dormant society like ours into a society throbbing with industrial, agricultural, and cultural activities capable of facing the challenges of the 21st century. Some basic postulates of Social Action Party: first, agriculture. Except small holdings, large tracts of land shall be brought under the management of corporate sector for cultivation. Plantation companies will manage big estates. Only small holdings will be left under personal cultivation. Corporate and collective farming will be tried. Education. It is proposed to introduce far-reaching changes in the education field in order to erase the distinction between ordinary schools and public schools. We propose to upgrade all schools to the level of public schools, as well as to set up one senior school in every block area. School and college education will be completely free for all students. Tax structure. We have to think of a system in which an individual is not subject to a number of taxes. It is proposed to introduce a composite tax on a family, discarding the concept of levying so much taxes on various counts. Main source of income of the state will be excess duty imposed on goods. Only certain types of tax will prevail in the new setup. Democracy. It aims at preserving the best ideas and principles of parliamentary democracy and the basic structure of our constitution. At the same time, it prevails a presidential form of government. Classless society, not a casteless society. Instead of advocating the abolition of caste system, which is deeply rooted in the soil of India, it stands for the uplift of all people belonging to all sects, caste, subcaste and all religious groups, recognizing caste system as a thing of reality in India. Health. It wants to improve the health services and medical facilities by establishing network of hospitals, health clubs and sanatoriums. Private hospitals will be brought under corporate ownership. Poverty. It is determined to alleviate poverty within 5 years by redesigning anti-poverty programs. It is firm on to bring radical changes in the lives of landless agricultural workers, artisans, small and marginal farmers, tribals. It intends to preserve the tribal identity and way of life tribals in order to protect interest of the tribal communities to raise their standard of living. Jail reform. It will bring about necessary jail reform, which will ensure fair treatment to all prisoners, including under trial prisoners. Clean administration. It promises a clean and responsive administration. It shall formulate strict code of conduct to be observed by all employees. It shall wipe out corruption rampant in all walks of life. A Lokpal will be appointed in every district. Corrupt officials will be severely punished. Electoral reforms. It is proposed to change the present electoral system and to introduce a system in which people belong to all shades of opinion are adequately and proportionately represented in every elected body. It is proposed to give franchise right to all persons who have attained the age of 18 years. Wants to introduce a system of state funding of elections for meeting election expenses of candidates. It wants to change the present mode of election campaigning and shall introduce a scheme for proportionate representation. Legislative power. This party intends to make far-reaching changes in the legislative powers of both Parliament and legislative assemblies. The system envisages a uniform set of laws applicable throughout India. Parliament will be vested with the power of initiating legislation of any sort. Any bill passed by the Parliament has to be ratified by the two-thirds state assemblies. This is intended to reduce the number of statutes in our country. Laws will be made simple. It will scrap all state laws and introduce uniform laws applicable throughout India. Dowry provision. It is determined to put an end to the dowry system by enacting effective succession acts which will give equal status to the male and female children in the matter of succession. Administrative power. It was for a strong center with autonomous states. Power of states and local bodies shall be clearly defined and expressly provided in the Constitution of India. Population countries. Proposed to introduce new ways of family planning programs much more pragmatic and realistic way, taking into account of individual rights and interest. It will promote big family concern for a healthy family. Administrative power. It was for strong center with autonomous states. Power center and states and panchayats shall be expressly provided in the Constitution. Communal harmony and peace. It requires to take measures to find lasting solution to the frequent eruptions of communal right. It will safeguard the interest of every community. Spirit of tolerance and cooperation will be fostered among various communities. Role of governor. It is proposed to abolish the post of governorship. Abolition of IAS and IPS cadets. It is firm on abolishing IAS and IPS cadets. It evolves a new method for the recruitment of persons to various posts in government services. It will formulate specific procedure for the recruitment of employees. It will do away with the practice of fixing age limit for a particular job unless the nature of the job calls for fixing of age limit. It will raise age of retirement to 60 years. Discipline among members of legislative bodies. It will enforce strict discipline among members of legislative assembly and parliament. Ban on all kinds of export of foodstuffs. We intend to prohibit export of vegetables and other food items such as cashews, shrimps, chemeins, variety of fish until we reach a stage when we can export the surplus. We will put a restriction on the migration. Our trained personnel to foreign countries, persons who settle in foreign countries permanently have to indemnify the state for the expenses incurred by the state for their education. Qualification for persons contesting the elections. It will provide a certain basic educational qualification for anyone standing as a candidate in an election to an elected body such as local bodies, legislative assembly and parliament. Free legal aid to all. It will introduce a novel system of helping all those who want to agitate their respective rights and claims in a court of law by freeing them of the liability to pay court fees, making available to them services of lawyers free of charges in both civil and criminal cases. Advocates' fees will be provided by the state. Role of intelligentsia. We recognize the role of intelligentsia in science, education, culture, in society as a whole. We do not recognize any basic distinction between labor by hand and labor by brain, as both are indispensable for our economic growth. It opposes the Marxian concept of class struggle, but advocates mutual cooperation and understanding among various classes of people as we base our political and economic ideology upon the precept that there are hundreds of subcastes in the Indian society based on the one's avocation instead of two classes envisaged in Marxism. Panchayat Raj. It is proposed to restructure villages. The concept of Panchayat Raj will be made a reality. Free press will guarantee freedom of speech and expression. We ensure the freedom of fourth estate. We want to dilute the ownership of newspapers in order to put an end to the monopoly ownership of the newspapers. We will start publication of one newspaper in each district with the share participation of journalists. Journalists will own and manage such enterprises. We want family. We want to protect the institution of family. Free consent of the men and women will be precondition for the solemnization of marriage. Small states. It is proposed to divide every state into tiny states for administrative and development convenience. We look into the feasibility of converting every district with a population more than 15 lakhs into a state or a union territory. For example, Sikkim with a population of 3.5 lakh survive as a state. Land ceiling. Land ceiling laws will be made more pragmatic and realistic, taking into account of the modern trends such as globalization and liberalization. It will evolve different criteria for fixing ceiling on the landed property situated in villages, towns and cities. Ban on construction of big houses for residents. It is proposed to prohibit the construction of big houses for residential purposes. University education. It will involve an effective and meaningful policy of university education. Educational institution will be made free from students' agitation and strikes. This party is dead against the formation of students' unions on the basis of political affiliation. They are free to form unions of their own without any political color. Ecology. It will endorse measures to control pollution, to take steps to keep balance of ecology, to set apart few acres of land for gardens and parks in every panchayat, town and city. Wage. It accepts the right to work and guaranteed employment and pay in accordance with the quality and quantity of their work, including their right to choose their trade or profession, type of job, works in accordance with their inclination, abilities and training and education. Social security. It is proposed to give maintenance in old age, in sickness, in the event of partial or full disability. It will introduce various types of social security measures. MPs and MLAs. MP and MLA will be vested with more powers. They will be treated as part of the executive. Separate office with necessary staffs will be provided to every MLA and MP. Common Civil Code. It is proposed to embark upon a program of creating public opinion, consensus among all religious groups so as to give shape to a common civil code respecting the sentiments of all religious groups. Special status given to Jammu and Kashmir. Special status provided to the state of Jammu and Kashmir will be done away with it. It will be treated as on par with other states. Basic tenets. It accepts the basic tenets Sarva Dharma Sama Bhava as a guiding principle for the implementation of socialistic programs, that is corporate socialism as propounded by the Social Action Party. Child labor. Wants to destroy the age-old system of landlordism, to end the system of slavery and child labor, put an end to exploitation by men, to treat all human beings on equal footings. Trade union. Trade unions supported by political parties will be banned. Workers are free to form trade unions and without affiliated to political parties. So many ideas and are in the offing. You can bring new ideas to include in these policies and programs of Social Action Party. I hope you will appreciate our endeavor to make the India a very socialist nation within a short period of time. If you implement these principles of corporate socialism without any haste, those who want to cooperate to this ideology can send their opinions to the following address. All your inquiries and proposals shall be addressed to Adv V C ZACHARIAH, National Co-ordinator, President, Social Action Party, Rani PO, Kerala, PIN 689672. Web corporatesocialism.blogspot.com. Email address socialactionparty@yahoo.com, corporatesocialism@gmail.com. Thank you very much.